we go back to our trusty toolkit again, we can start to think about what might be the way we interact. And we might say, for instance, decide that as educators that we together take on a role in the play world as well. And we may have one educator taking one role and another educator taking another role. So it's planning for how we're going to interact, because we are play partners in this process. And it's really, really important for us to be thinking about what role we will take and how we will do it.
Charlotte, where else have you been busy making webs?
Oh,
Let's go look in the rest of the garden, shall we?
Let's go looking.
So I wanted to share some little examples of what that might look like. If we're entering the play world in costume, for instance, and but it doesn't have to be, then we might take a role where we're equal with the children trying to solve the problem. Or we might take a role where we set up the problem, because we come in being whatever character of the story, and we explore what needs to be done, and we lead the processes of being able to take this forward in some way. So we kind of have two different roles that we could be taking, where we're with the children or we're actually leading the children. So this is just an example of planning our interactions.
Absolutely.
And he had no friends.
He had no friends. He was very lonely because he stayed in the barn a lot. He stayed in the barn and he was very lonely, and he really wanted a friend.
Because he would miss Fern. Each week we would plan a play episode, and if we felt there was a child who needed to be challenged, we thought very carefully about how we could position them in a certain way so that they could be an expert and inform the group. There were other children who needed a bit more help. So for example, in Charlotte's Web, we had one child who needed a bit of a confidence boost, so we gave him the very special role of being the seed inside the apple, because it all grew from there, and he was thrilled to have that very important role in the play.
Well, let's all go over here.
To the orchard, to the apple orchard. Let's go, team.
First, what I do is I plant the little seed.
And sometimes the children are still, they're very keen to be involved, but they're perhaps not ready to go really deep with the conceptual knowledge. So often they'll just sit in one of our laps, or they might be on our hip. So they will be playing. They might be very happy to play the characters in the story, but they may need more support and experience it literally with you when exploring something like a concept about the ecosystem. But you can say, let's be the rain together, or let's be the sunshine together. And so you can, with the child, help them to enter the play if they're feeling unsure. Whereas the other children will be completely leading it. So, are we ready to go hunting for Charlotte's webs?
Yes.
Yes.
So if you see one, say, I found one. So I'm wondering where we could
so
go.
we don't get stuck in them.
Oh, be careful you don't get stuck in them. Good point, because they are sticky, aren't they?
And I do eat you.
Oh, I hope Charlotte over here won't eat me, will you?
So throughout the play world, yeah, we would think of different things that we would have liked to have explored with the children. So as Rebecca enacted today, you were the spider spinning the web, and all the other children were flies going around you. So that was really important for us to explore in our play world. We would have thought about that carefully, thinking, well, we want the children to understand about how spiders work in the environment. So we would have planned for that sort of scenario, and always when we were planning, we were very clear about each other's roles. Who would be the one that had more knowledge and who was going to be present with the children in terms of wanting to model and explore how we would go about finding out, so that we were really clear about that as well. Yeah.
And I think obviously there's always a debate about how much to interfere with children's play, but in terms of
this approach gave us a lot of confidence
to jump in when they get stuck, because we saw how much more complex the play can be. So rather than being repetitive or them exploring a particular angle, we felt that we could really add layers by just a suggestion here, a suggestion
and
there.
the children embrace it.
And then it was incredible how far they took it. I mean, by the end of our Charlotte's Web project, we were talking about photosynthesis, and this was coming from obviously some of the children who are really ready to be extended, but just layer upon layer upon layer, which I felt by us being able to enter the play, and particularly role-playing the scientific concepts.
It was incredible how that knowledge transferred into another ecosystem. And so how,
projects after that.
Green apples,
I'm
a red apple.
so tall now.
Oh, and you know, I feel so much better knowing that the spider is helping my apples to grow.
I think the ecosystem is back in balance.
Back in balance.
is, yeah.
There aren't so many insects anymore now.
Just have a go. Don't be so afraid of just taking a risk and being involved and immersed with the children in the play. Being really clear about the concepts that you are teaching and trying to draw those concepts with the story and being able to tie them in together was really important for us, so that we were always really clear about why we were creating a particular play scenario and why we were wanting to develop a specific message or idea with the children. I think that was really important for us.